Max Crosby, the star pass rusher for the Las Vegas Raiders, recently shared some intriguing thoughts on his podcast. He was asked about the top quarterbacks expected in the 2025 NFL Draft, particularly Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. What he said caught my attention, not just because of his comments, but because he's a leader on the Raiders. He might know more than the rest of us. Crosby expressed his excitement, saying, "I like what's happening, man. We're 5-2, and Miami is cooking. Here's what I want to say. I'm putting it out there. Cam Ward, follow me. He mentioned our podcast, and Shedeur, he's my guy. We need to have them on our show after the season to talk about why they should be the first quarterbacks taken in the draft. I'm speaking it into existence." He added a playful note saying, "I'd love to sack both of them in practice, but hey, one of them might just be my future teammate, so I can't go too hard on them, right?" Max also joked about how quarterbacks in practice will feel the pressure, even if they wear red jerseys. If you come to the Raiders, you'll definitely feel it. It's all in good fun though. What's interesting is that Crosby hinted at the possibility of one of these quarterbacks becoming his teammate. This means the Raiders are seriously considering their options for the future. While he's not dismissing the current quarterbacks on the roster, it's clear that the team is looking for fresh talent. Now, let's think about the bigger picture. The Raiders need a quarterback, and when a top player like Crosby starts talking about potential draftees, it's worth paying attention. There's a lot of buzz around this quarterback class, but it seems the hype has cooled a bit. Initially, many were excited about multiple quarterbacks going in the first round, but now it looks like only a few will make the cut. Currently, Cam Ward stands out as the only quarterback with a solid first-round grade from NFL scouts. Others like Shedeur Sanders might also go in the first round, but it's not guaranteed. It's crucial to remember that just because someone has talent doesn't mean they'll be picked early. Max Crosby's comments are fascinating, especially since he playfully mentioned he'd bully both quarterbacks when they reach the NFL. We've seen him in action, dominating opponents, and it's clear he's passionate about the game. While the Raiders recently brought in Desmond Ritter, it's important to be realistic. Ritter might not lead the team to a Super Bowl. As the season unfolds, all eyes will be on the Raiders and their quest for a new quarterback. Max Crosby's insights give us a glimpse into the team's future, and it's definitely something to keep an eye on. When it comes to quarterbacks, the chances of finding a gem can be pretty slim. There are two main types of quarterback busts. First, you have players like Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. These guys have talent but struggled early in their careers. However, they've shown that they can develop and possibly lead a team to the playoffs or even a Super Bowl someday. Then there's a second group, players like Trey Lance and Justin Fields, who just haven't performed well at all. It's hard to see them turning things around. Now, Desmond Ritter falls into a bit of a gray area. We don't quite know which bucket he belongs to yet. He's still young and has the potential to bounce back, but he's also faced some tough challenges. The reality is that if Ritter gets a real chance to play, it could be a turning point for him. The current starter, Gardner Minshew, hasn't been doing well, and the Raiders' offensive line has struggled too. While the run game is improving, pass protection is still an issue. The offensive scheme hasn't been great either. Some folks say the quarterback needs to push the ball downfield, but the coaching staff needs to create a more unpredictable offense. The current offensive play calling has become too predictable. For example, Luke Getsy has been calling plays that are easy for defenses to read, allowing them to blitz and guess the hot routes. This predictability is disappointing and makes it tough for any quarterback to succeed. Even if Ritter steps in, I'm not sure he'll have a huge impact given the current circumstances. However, I'd prefer to keep him around rather than go with other options like Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell. While Minshew has some upside, I don't think he can lead a team to success without an elite coach like Kyle Shanahan or Andy Reid guiding him. Desmond Ritter is different. He's a third-round pick with potential, and he's shown flashes of talent. He has the traits that could be molded into a solid quarterback. Plus, he understands the gravity of his situation. This could be his last chance in the NFL. Recently, during a press conference, Ritter shared his thoughts about seizing this opportunity. He talked about being cut just 3 months ago and how that experience fuels his motivation. He mentioned how he has to explain to his daughter why he's heading to Vegas, emphasizing that he's doing it all for his family. When asked if he feels an extra chip on his shoulder, he replied, "It's not even about proving it to the rest of the league. It's about proving it to myself. I know what I can do, and now I just have to go out and do it." Hearing Ritter talk like this gives me hope. He seems genuinely motivated, and I admire that. Even if some fans think the Raiders' season is over, I still find excitement in each game. Honestly, I think the Raiders should consider bringing in a new quarterback every few weeks. At least that way, we can keep the excitement alive and hope for something fresh to watch. Max Crosby's comments hint at a potential quarterback change for the Raiders, but I have to say, this quarterback class doesn't look too promising. Even if it turns out to be solid, a lot depends on whether the top juniors and redshirt juniors decide to enter the draft. Not every talented quarterback will choose to come out. Take Quinn Ewers, for example. He's a true junior at Texas, and if he wants to declare for the draft, he'll need to graduate early. If he isn't on track to graduate, he won't be eligible to enter the NFL. There's always the chance he might choose to stay in college or even transfer to another school for a better opportunity. Then there's Miller Moss, another junior who's just starting his career. He might not decide to come out either, and while there's potential, it's hard to predict. Drew Aller from Penn State is another name to watch. If you're interested in my analysis of these college quarterbacks that the Raiders might target, I recently posted a video on my second YouTube channel. I'll link it in the comments, so feel free to check it out and subscribe. Now, let's shift gears and talk about DJ Glaze, an intriguing player coming out of Maryland. When I first watched his tape, I thought he might end up as a guard in the NFL instead of a tackle. I only managed to catch 1 or 2 games, including a matchup against Ohio State and another against Iowa. In those games, I didn't see the upside I was hoping for. He didn't seem to move very well. His pass protection wasn't quick or explosive enough for a tackle. Interestingly, some of the best guards in the NFL were once tackles in college. Players like Tyler Smith and Zach Martin made successful transitions. So when the Raiders drafted DJ Glaze in the 3rd round, I thought he might be better suited as a guard. Generally, most tackles drafted in later rounds don't pan out, with most successful starting tackles being 1st or 2nd round picks. Surprisingly, DJ Glaze has shown some promise at the tackle position. I even made a film breakdown of him on my Football Scout channel, which I'll also pin in the comments. There will be 2 videos linked, one about quarterbacks and another focusing on DJ Glaze. As an offensive line enthusiast, I find DJ Glaze to be an interesting prospect. He has moments where his potential shines through. For instance, he can double team effectively with Jordan Morrell, moving defenders off the line. He also shows good explosiveness and quickness in his vertical sets, with solid hand placement. However, there are inconsistencies in his play. Sometimes he gets beaten by faster defenders, and there are little things he needs to improve. One notable struggle came when he faced TJ Watt. It's tough to judge too harshly since Watt is a top-tier player, but DJ Glaze definitely had a rough time in that matchup. In summary, while the quarterback situation remains uncertain, DJ Glaze is a player to keep an eye on. He has the potential to develop into a solid contributor for the Raiders, but he'll need to refine his skills to reach his full potential. While some may rely on PFF for evaluations, I believe they miss key factors, especially when it comes to how chips and double teams affect a player's performance. Antonio Pierce recently highlighted this in his press conference, emphasizing that DJ Glaze's performance against TJ Watt was not as stellar as some might claim. In that game, Glaze received considerable chip help, but he still struggled against Watt's quickness and agility. Watt, being one of the top edge rushers in the league, was able to exploit Glaze's weaknesses by using a variety of moves, shifting from outside to inside with ease. We saw similar tactics used by Jared Verse, a rookie from the Rams, who also managed to get the better of Glaze. This raises concerns about Glaze's ability to handle quicker, shiftier defenders, as he has lost snaps against them. One of DJ Glaze's challenges is his lack of explosiveness in changing direction. While he can get off the line quickly, he struggles to adjust when defenders make sudden moves.
That's the type of guy that we've seen,
if a defender fakes an inside move and then
of
quickly darts outside, Glaze needs to be able to mirror that movement. Unfortunately, there are multiple instances on tape where he has failed to do so, particularly against both Watt and Verse. It's important to remember that we're still working with a limited sample size, around 200 snaps. He's a rookie, and there are many many factors at play, including the team's overall scheme. When the Raiders faced the Chargers in Week 1, many claimed that Max Crosby was effectively shut down. In reality, he was double-teamed on nearly every play, making it less about individual performance and more about scheme. This brings us to the importance of context in evaluating players. For DJ Glaze, the team has provided him with support through chips and double teams, which is crucial for a young player. However, it's essential to maintain realistic expectations. He's not ready to be an all-pro caliber tackle just yet. He still has a lot of developing to do. To illustrate the differences in offensive line schemes, consider teams like the Detroit Lions, who often rely on 5-man pass protection. Their offensive line is expected to handle defensive fronts without additional help, allowing all 5 receivers to run routes. This is a stark contrast to schemes where additional blockers are used, which can create a more favorable environment for young tackles. While DJ Glaze has shown flashes of potential and has looked good at times, we must keep in mind that he is still a rookie. The effectiveness of his play will largely depend on the scheme and how well he adapts to the challenges of the NFL. That said, I do believe he possesses real upside, and with the right development, he could become a solid contributor for the Raiders in the future. I genuinely believe that DJ Glaze has real potential to become a solid tackle in the NFL, but he needs to get stronger. One of the issues I've noticed is that he can be bull rushed, especially by faster defenders. This often happens because he anticipates outside and inside moves from quicker players, and when they switch to a power move, he can be caught off guard. Conversely, he's had success against slower, stronger players, which highlights the varying challenges he'll face from different defensive ends. Every defensive end presents a unique challenge. Some, like TJ Watt and Malcolm Kuntz, are incredibly fast, while others may be slower but stronger. DJ Glaze's ability to adapt will be crucial as he continues his development. One of DJ Glaze's strengths is his hand usage. If a tackle can master this skill, it significantly increases their chances of success. While he shows promise, he still needs to refine more advanced techniques, such as slingshotting, snatching, forking, and utilizing the latch technique. Unfortunately, I'm not overly confident in the Raiders' offensive line coach to help him develop these skills, as I believe the coaching staff has its shortcomings. That said, some players like Dylan Parham appear to be improving, likely due to the scheme rather than individual coaching. Parham seems to be a solid player, and Jordan Meredith has also shown potential. I'm excited to watch DJ Glaze's progression. While I won't crown him as a franchise tackle just yet, I'm hopeful about his future. One of the worst things Raider fans can do is overhype a player too soon. This happened with Jermaine Elwemenor, where some fans labeled him as an all-pro tackle and the franchise's future. The reality is that Elwemenor has been more of a bottom-tier starter, and DJ Glaze has already surpassed him in performance. I would argue that Elwemenor ranks among the bottom 10 starting tackles in the league. While DJ Glaze isn't perfect today, he possesses the traits and upside that could make him a valuable player for the Raiders. If he doesn't work out as a tackle, I believe he has all-pro potential as a guard. His length and power are assets when he's down blocking, reach blocking, or double teaming, and you can see glimpses of that potential. In the future, if DJ Glaze transitions to guard, it might open the door for Paris Johnson to move back to center, with a mix of Dylan Parham and Jordan Meredith contributing to the line. I think the Raiders' offensive line has a solid foundation, and once they address the right tackle position and shift some players around, they could be in a good spot. I hope you all enjoyed this analysis. If you did, consider subscribing, and I look forward to sharing more insights with you in the next video.